So I've always liked when other YouTubers, do a quick bookshelf tour. My bookshelf kind of grew based on the inspiration of seeing other people's. I think what I have at no other bookshelf. Welcome back to the Muscle Code YouTube channel. My first video's been up for a week now, and I think it has 8 views. So it's a slow start, but if I reach one person, if one person likes a book I recommend and they end up loving the book, the series, and the author, then it's been all worth it. So as I talked about, I want to do book reviews on this channel, and kind of my commentary on reviews in general. I hope it shines through. I hate when books get really bad reviews. I've written a book. I know how hard it is to put it together. I know the effort it takes to put together. And it kind of like grinds my gears when I hear, books that I've read that I liked, I enjoyed, get bad reviews for the most part on Goodreads or Reddit or Amazon. It kind of ticks me off. So what I wanted to do was a top 5 list of books that I loved that for the most part people didn't like or gave bad reviews for the most part. A top 5 list books that I love that the majority of people gave bad reviews or didn't like. And to start off the list, The Mandalorian Armor by K.W. Jeter. And it's kind of a funny story. I make the analogy of the fact that The Mandalorian kind of saved Star Wars, the Mandalorian TV show. It was kind of, Han Solo just tanked at the box office, and it was pretty much dead. And then The Mandalorian hit, and even I was like, oh no, another TV show, Han Solo just came out, and it ended up being a really great show, a really big hit, and it really saved Star Wars. And The Bounty Hunter Wars, The Mandalorian Armor is the book 1. It did the same thing with my interest in Star Wars novels. It kind of saved it. At that point, I've read about 4 or 5 Star Wars novels, and it wasn't really clicking. I love Star Wars, the movies, and I was like, why wasn't I getting into the novels as much as I should? And I was about to give up on it. And then I liked the Mandalorian TV show, so I decided to seek out the Mandalorian Armor, and I loved it. It really, Boba Fett is the main character in it, and it saved my interest in Star Wars. Now I've read probably like 26 Star Wars novels since then. So it really saved, it saved my reading career with Star Wars. And the reviews on it are just bad across the board, and it just bothers me. It just bothers me. If you love the bounty hunters, if you love the dark side or the shadowy aspects of Star Wars, Prince Zixor is in this with the Black Sun Empire, or the Black Sun, it's like the mafia of Star Wars. And it's just a good, if you want to spend time, Boba Fett is obviously a really cool character, probably the most popular Star Wars character for cool factor. If you want to spend time with him, it's a great book. It's a great book. It's very science fiction-y, which is what I want with a Star Wars novel. K.W. Jeter is a science fiction author, and it does get technical at times, and it's a challenge, but that's what I want from a Star Wars novel. Star Wars is science fiction. I hate when fantasy authors take a shot at writing Star Wars book. It just doesn't, it's too easy. It doesn't feel the same. I like my Star Wars books science fiction-y. So Mandalorian, and there's a couple, no spoilers, but there's a couple really cool parts that Boba Fett kind of saves the day or has a trick up his sleeve that makes him the winner in the end, just what you would expect from a real bounty hunter, the most feared bounty hunter in the galaxy. So it's number 5 on my list of books I love that most people didn't. And just a real quick, this is actually the omnibus of the Bounty Hunter Wars trilogy, and Mandalorian is book 1, and this is just my favorite book of all. This trilogy is my favorite book that I found. So number 4 on the list, which is it's a pretty tight consensus that this is the weakest book in the series, but I didn't find that so at all, is Full Moon, Jim Butcher, which is the second book in the Dresden Files series. Stormfront Book 1 seemed to have pretty good reviews across the board. It was a unique, kind of like Harry Potter if he lived in Chicago, in urban city Chicago type of thing. His name is even Harry Dresden. And it was a kind of, the best way I can explain it is like a Harry Potter, but he's all grown up and he's like broke and he's living in urban Chicago in a basement. And Jim Butcher does a good job of tying in real aspects of life with a wizardy world. He does cool things like, when someone makes eye contact, even in real life, when you make eye contact with someone, it could be, you kind of see their soul, you have a memorable impact on them. And he kind of takes that and goes into another level with it. He kind of gives, true facts from real life and applies it to, kind of gives it a mystical or a wizardy spin. And it just works. And in Full Moon, it had a werewolf theme in it, and it seems most people kind of said, "Oh, it's the weakest book in the series." But I really liked it. I thought the ending there's a couple cool parts near the end that only Jim Butcher can pull off. He'll suck you in, and he'll hit you hard with a few paragraphs. It almost has his writing almost has like power. And he'll get you. He'll get you with a cool aspect. And there was a couple cool ones at the end of this book that I really enjoyed. Overall, I've read about half the Dresden Files. I think there's like over 16, maybe 16, 17 at this point. It's not my favorite series. There's a little bit too much action for my liking. I prefer like epic fantasy to urban fantasy, and this is definitely more urban fantasy. But I still like once or twice a year I'll add another to my list, another book to the list, and eventually I'll catch up. But Full Moon, don't let the comments deter you. I think it's still pretty cool. And next couple videos. The next video we'll do number 3 and number 2 on the list, and then on the second one from now we'll do the top one. And if you didn't notice, this is actually a Mandalorian sweatshirt. So if you noticed that beforehand, you're a true Star Wars Mando fan. So, and the new series starts in a couple weeks. So perfect timing. Look for the next video next week. Hope to see you back. So I've always liked when other YouTubers, do a quick bookshelf tour. My bookshelf kind of grew